What's up, y'all? Hey, it's me, Angie B, back again with another video. And today we are doing Bible study number 2. I saw that you guys really loved like Bible study number 1. So I'm enjoying my time with God. So I love sharing that with my YouTube family. And why not make it a space where all of us can grow and learn more about God? Okay, so today the topic that I wanted to focus on, and that's been like a constant reminder of my life in different facets, is moving in silence. Different signs have like told me to move in silence, so I wanted to find a story in the Bible where this particular individual did not move in silence and all that came along with it, good and bad. So yeah, let's dive in. Don't need no long intro. Let's get it. Okay, if you guys could all turn your Bibles to Genesis chapter 37. We're gonna talk about Joseph. I don't know if you know about Joseph. He was the brother with, you know, the jacket of many colors. He had 12 brothers, or it was 12 of them in total, but he was seen as his father's favorite. So his brothers were jealous. So I'm just gonna read the story. Turn to Genesis 37, and I'm gonna read verses 3 and 4. Okay, so it reads, "Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made an ornate robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a word to him." Okay, so Joseph got some haters, and his haters happen to be his family, his brothers, you know, the people he should probably be the closest with. But Joseph, being the youngest, doesn't really have that discernment yet to see that his brothers are jealous, and that's going to hurt him in a little bit. So I'm going to continue with verses 5 through 11. So Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out of the field when suddenly a sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." His brother said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. "Listen," he said, "I had another dream. And this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Now, I don't know why Joseph continuously told his brothers about the many dreams he was having. But after seeing they were jealous the first time, I don't know if I would have went back. But again, I'm going to blame it on Joseph's young age. I don't know how old Joseph actually was, but he was the baby brother. But I'm going to blame it on that. I'm going to blame it on his young age. But I really wish he had some discernment, because jealousy, like, it really brings out the worst in people. And let's continue with the story. All right, we're still in Genesis chapter 37. Let's go down a little bit more, and we'll start with verse 15. And oh yeah, I'm reading out of the NIV. A man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, "What are you looking for?" He replied, "I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks?" "They have moved from here," the man answered. "I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. "Here comes the dreamer," they said to each other. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Y'all, his own brothers plotted to kill him. That is crazy. See, this is the wrath of the world. Like, why can't we just be happy for people? And his dream at this moment was just a dream. It wasn't like it had happened yet. Yet they are so jealous of the dream and the favoritism he has of his parents that they're like, let's just kill it all together. Let's kill the dream. Let's kill the brother. And let's lie about it to make us seem not so bad. Let's see. All right, go down a little bit further to verse 23. I'm going to read 23 to 28. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the ornate robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. I believe a cistern is like a well, right? Okay, at least that's what I'm interpreting. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood?" Thank God somebody's coming to their senses, right? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. Well, darn, that ain't much better. I mean, he's alive, but I'm still saying, like, it's not for the better. Okay. And not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. Now, I don't know how much 20 shekels is, but I know he worth more than that. See, I really hate this because they sold him all because he had some dreams. When you have a dream and it's positive in your favor, people don't like that. And they would do everything in their power to ensure you don't get that power. Like, if you recall what I said, his dream was that they were bowing down to him. So they did not want him to get to that place of power, hierarchy, to the point where they're bowing down. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to sell our brother. But let me tell you, God got a sense of humor. Okay, to just finish this tragic story of the brother getting sold, let's finish out the chapter. When Reuben, verses 29. Okay. When Reuben returned to the cistern and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in blood. They took the ornate robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." He recognized it and said, "It's my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put a sackcloth, and mourned for his son for many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave." So his father wept for him. Poor daddy. He loved that man. He loved that boy. And they just sat there and lied to their daddy. That is horrible. That is horrible. They some liars. And that is one of the 10 Commandments, right? Thou shalt not lie. I think that's one of them. But yeah, they just terrible. They done lied to the daddy. They done faked this man's death. They went through a whole lot just to ensure that this man don't make this dream come true. Horrible. All right, let's go to another chapter. Turn to Genesis 39, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 4. Okay? Now, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. See, Joseph never lost God's favor, despite all that his brothers did. Okay? But if you continue to read this chapter, you will see that the master's wife, Potiphar's wife, wanted to sleep with Joseph. See, the Bible is really good, y'all. It's really giving soap opera, okay? So continue to read the chapter. You will see that Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to sleep with her. And he fought that temptation. Kudos to Joseph, because most men out here, if a woman is throwing themselves at you, it's like, okay, free. Why buy the cow when the milk is free? You know what I'm saying? Like, they just do it. But Joseph resisted that temptation. But the crazy thing is, the girl done lied on him. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all are getting my version of the story. The girl done lied on him because he refused. And she basically said he like raped her. Something like that. Something along those lines. Read for your own interpretation. So the master throws him in prison because of course he's gonna believe his wife. The master throws him in prison. But thankfully God was still with him. Of course, God is with us wherever we go. And he gave him favor with the warden. So Joseph then came out of the well, the cistern. Okay, his brother sold him to some Egyptians. The Egyptian king found favor with Joseph because he saw that everything he did was successful. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you in charge over here. Then here come the devil trying to make stuff hard on Joseph again. He trying to get on the come up, even though he just got sold. Here come the devil through Potiphar's wife, trying to make him do things that are not right. And now he's back in jail, or back in a hole. Like, I can't win for losing. You know, climb 3 steps, get knocked down 2, something like that. So anyway, he's in jail. He finds favor with the warden. Ooh, that was so country. He finds favor with the warden. And Joseph is put in charge of all held in the prison. It was successful, y'all. Like, I love that it was successful. Even though you are in places that you don't want to be, even though you feel like you in the dark, you feel like you in a hole, you can still be successful. It's just different steps you got to take to reach your dreams. Ooh, that was a word. Like, we may not like the process that we got to go through to get to where we want to be, but you got to trust that it's all working out in your favor. Like, that brings me so much peace, and it gives me chills just to know that all things are working for my good. So I love that for Joseph. I don't like all that's happening, but I love that for Joseph, that he was still successful and is building up to the greatness that he's about to be in. Okay, let's continue. I'm getting chills. Okay, so I'm also gonna like give you Anjanette's version of the next chapter, because I mean, it's good to read the Bible, but y'all are watching and I'm trying to make this concise. Okay, so y'all remember how Joseph had the dream and he told his brothers? Okay, well, in chapter 40, it talks about how Joseph has a gift of dream interpretation. I wish Joseph was here, because I be having dreams and I be needing somebody to interpret it. But I be using good old Google, even though Google don't know much. Google know a lot. Let me stop taking away credit from Google. But anyway, Joseph had a gift of dream interpretation. And if you don't know, that is actually one of God's ways of talking to us through dreams and visions. So that's why I be praying for dreams, because if that's what it's going to be, he might as well let me know in my sleep. Anyway, so he told some people in prison that, you know, he could tell them what their dreams meant. And all he wanted in return was for them to get him out of jail. But they forgot about him. Like, old boy got out, and he was supposed to be like, yeah, my boy, don't forget him. But people be more concerned about themselves. I ain't mad, but I am mad because you promised somebody that. Okay, that's a real generic synopsis of what happened in chapter 40. But he was in jail. He interpreted some folks' dreams. And he was like, and they were so grateful. And he was like, all you got to do to repay me is when you get out of here, don't forget about me. And they did not do that. So in a way, I wish he would have kept his mouth shut again, because it's like, I hate when relationships are one-sided. Like, I done did this for you, so shouldn't you want to do something in return? Like, I really hate when stuff is one-sided. Like, I'm the only one giving in the relationship. It needs to be a give and take. So I feel bad for Joseph in that sense. So I wish he would have moved in silence. However, sometimes moving in silence sometimes not moving in silence can have a greater effect, because some people will open doors for you in rooms that you have never even entered, because you have told somebody, this about your life and that about your life, so they remember you because you left that lasting impact. It might not happen when you want it to happen, but it happens when you least expect it. That's just how God works. Sometimes talking too much can actually work in your favor, because like I said, they remember and look out for you. Okay, so if we turn to Genesis 41, I'm about to read for a minute, y'all. I might skip around, but Genesis 41 verses 1 through 14. Okay, like I said, I might skip around. I'm gonna read the verse number before I skip around. Okay, so Genesis 41 verses 1 through 14, and it reads, when 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile. When he went out to the river, there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out the Nile and stood beside those on the riverbank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. I'm sorry, y'all. Why did I just do that? Okay, then Pharaoh woke up. Verse 5. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 healthy, full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. This man had 2 dreams back to back. Oof. In the morning, his mind was troubled, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dream, but no one could interpret them for him. Okay. All right. Verse 9. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, today I am reminded of my shortcomings. Oh boy, from the jail? Yeah, he remembered about Joseph. Then I am reminded of my shortcomings. Verse 10. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. Each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was impaled. Verse 14. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. I absolutely love this. Like, right when you thought, oh boy, forgot about Joseph, he remembered and got him out. Ooh, chills. So, Joseph gets there. He interprets his dream to Pharaoh. And now I'm going to read verses 37 through 41. So the dream or the plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, can we find anyone like this man, one of whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Once again, Joseph got favor everywhere he go. That's that type of favor I want. I ain't necessarily trying to go to jail or nothing, like at all. Jail ain't for me. But everywhere I go, every room I enter, every job I go to, every church I'm in, every relationship I'm in, like friendship, family, whatever, every relationship I have, I want to have some form of favor in that room. Because God's favor is really powerful, and it's more credit to that favor. Like, you know how people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, I want to be the exception, because I'm working on my network, but I want to be the exception, and I just want my story to be a story for the books. So I just need that favor. I literally pray for favor all the time. Like, I wanted to be a situation. I'm going to work hard for whatever I do, but I still want it to be a situation where it's like, okay, she doesn't have that much experience in this area. However, it's something special about her through this resume that I'm seeing, through this interview that I heard. It's something special about her, and we're going to give her a chance. Like, I want favor like that. Okay, anyway, boy got favor, and now he in charge of this palace too. Okay, interesting, right? But his boy ain't forget about him from jail, and that was beautiful. Even though he ain't immediately remember, but he remembered when it counted. All right, so now we're gonna go to chapter 42, Genesis chapter 42, and I'm gonna read verses 6 through 11. So y'all remember the initial dream that Joseph had, right? Like 11 shekels or something was bowing down and at one. So he interpreted it as his brothers were bowing down at him. And then he had another dream after that, similar to that, but with different forms of nature. So now Joseph is head of the land in Egypt or whatever. And let me read. So I'm going to read Genesis 42, verses 6 through 11. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the person who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied, "to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Then he remembered his dream about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." "No, my lord," they answered. "Your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies." See, in this moment, Joseph trying to get his lick back. And I ain't even mad at him because we are human. And when someone has done you wrong, it's just a human thing to want to get them back. I am not encouraging that, but I'm just saying it's the human nature to want to get somebody back. Medea said, "If they get me, I gotta get them. And if I get the God, I gotta get God." Something like that. Medea said all of that. But that's just how humans think. So Joseph in this moment is trying to get his lick back. Because they don't recognize him because, he ain't got the haircut. He looked different. He'd have been in jail. He probably buff and everything. Like, it's so much that probably has changed about Joseph. But for all his brothers put him through, it was kind of deserving. But I'm sorry, God, that ain't what you want me to say. Because, I always try to say, God has the final say. God will get them in their time. Of course, you want it to happen when you want it to happen, especially when somebody did you dirty. But, God has the final say. So I'm going to continue down to verses 14 through 18. And it reads, Joseph said to them, "It is just as I told you. You are spies. And this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept here in prison, so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." And he put them in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do this and you will live, for I fear God." Joseph is really making them mean work, because ain't he the youngest brother? Joseph funny with that. But Joseph is human. He ain't God. But it's real fulfilling when someone prayed on my downfall and now they're bowing and they're coming to me for help. Because they hungry. That's why they come in there trying to get some food. But Joseph's making them work, okay? But I'm going to stop the story right here because it gets a little longer. But I just wanted to show you both sides of moving in silence. He didn't move in silence. He told his brothers about his dreams. His brothers did everything in his power for him to not, get to his dreams. However, God had the final say, and he made it work in his own way for Joseph to get to the top and make that dream come to life, come to fruition. So my conclusions on this story are to move in silence. Less obstacles will be in your way in terms of people. Of course, things are going to come in your life. Obstacles and trials come, but you don't necessarily want to have that extra oomph of obstacles because people know what your plans and your aspirations are. So now they're throwing extra on you on your path. Because the devil already trying, but now you done told Tom, Dick, and Harry, and now Tom, Dick, and Harry are trying to stir you off too. That's just more, like, that could be avoided. But on the other hand, like, if you don't move in silence and you continuously just got a big mouth and you realize, like, you ain't changed after, you know, you gotta realize that it is some good people out here. Some people will look out. Like I said, some doors are being opened for you because you had, you know, expressed yourself in different ways. Some doors are being open for you in rooms and in houses you haven't even stepped foot in. So sometimes not moving in silence works in your favor. And again, like, in terms of favor, you can't take that away no matter what. People might try to knock you down, but if you have favor with God, that is special. Can't nobody take that away from you. And the last thing I want to say is have a forgiving heart. God is working with me in that department, but I'm getting there because when people have done you dirty, you want to get your lick back like Joseph did with his brothers. Continue the story, continue reading the Bible, it's free. But you want to get your lick back, but you don't need to do that. Just believe that God will handle it for you, and believe that everything that's happening in your life is for your good. That bad thing that happened, that was a test to prepare you for your testimony. The message you're going through is for a message in the end. So just know that everything happens for a reason. I know it's hard in the moment to believe that, and to know that you might have caused situations that come on yourself. You might have inflicted that on you because you didn't have discernment to read the room and realize who your real friends maybe were at the time. But everybody is not on your side. And that's why I encourage everybody to move in silence from here on out. Really evaluate your circle. And if your circle is not for your good, for positivity, then you got to cut some people off. And ain't nothing to cut that off. Snip, snip. Okay, but you got to cut them off. And just really have discernment. And if you don't have discernment, for real, like, you got to move in silence, like 6 feet under silence. Like, don't say anything, but be working on it. Like, it's just so crazy how God set some stuff up. Like, God knew all of that was going to happen to Joseph. It's just so crazy because God knew Joseph was not going to keep his mouth shut, but it prepared him to get to where he was and how he ruled. I have to continue to read the story myself, so I will, but I hope you guys enjoyed this Bible study number 2. I'm going to try to keep them coming, like when God speaks to me through multiple people or through anything, and I'm like, ooh, let me write that down so I can study more about it myself. I'll come to you guys with it as well. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this Bible study number 2. And y'all know what to do. Like down below, comment down below, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, all of that good stuff. Let's grow and glow together in God and in life. I love you guys. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I will tell y'all what I'm doing that's taking up my time, but I'm trying to move in silence. So I gotta, whatever I tell y'all is what I'm doing in my life. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite out here. But yeah, y'all already know what it is. I love y'all. Bye.